Hello, everybody. My name is Bricky. Welcome to Fireside Bricky, the small off-the-cuff video where I talk about questions you have and relatively deeper, more personal questions, or just things that maybe are hitting you a little bit closer to home, poking at nerves, anxiety, so on and so forth. As per the usual, the only thing more common than the sun rising is me taking forever to make Fireside Bricky videos. But never late or never, no, always late, but better late than never, I suppose. I actually was considering creating another channel specifically for Fireside Bricky type videos, like a once per week one where I answer maybe one or two questions, something between 20 and 30 minutes long each video, maybe come out every Monday. I don't really know. I don't really know exactly how I would want to do that or if it's a thing you guys would be interested in, but I think maybe I've been pulling myself a bit thin lately, taking on the dice check stuff as well, the Warhammer tabletop group. And then with the main channel work plus the second channel work, which you're viewing this on right now, Twitch, so on, it remains to be quite a lot of effort. And until I get an assistant to help me out with that kind of stuff, just to really lessen the workload or, well, any other thing that could help me out, I'd like to probably hold off on that before I want to make it any kind of key thing. Anyway, I appreciate a lot of your questions in the little Fireside questions chat in the Discord. You may find it in the description if you'd like. And I like to pull out at least two of them and really kind of talk about them. The first one here is from a server member named Buckles. It says, I'm 19 and don't really know what to do with my life. How do I go about making such a huge decision? Because what I decide to do now will affect the entirety of my life. I was thinking uni, college for you Americans, and doing army reserves on the side for cash. But once I'm done with uni, I have no clue what I want to do. Full-time army, get a job, stay in the reserves, job and no reserves. I'm lost. So this is actually a pretty common question that I hear from people in the younger age, often in between 17 to 20 years old, either just finishing high school or halfway through college or uni, whatever you want to call it. And it's a question that I find is a sign of the times. It's not a question that I think people really should be asking, and that's not anything against you to asking it, but it's a question that I think is entirely perpetuated almost exclusively by the advent and popularization of social media. Now, I use a whole lot of extra flavor text words there for no reason. It's a social media problem at the end of the day. I think if you went back, 10 years was one thing, but maybe 20, maybe 15 years down to like 40 years, however long ago, not knowing what you wanted to do at 19 was incredibly commonplace and for the most part just expected. I don't think I know a single person who is full stop 100% I know what I want my life to be at 19 years old. And if you were one of those people, like I was one of those people, for example, there's a damn good chance that it might be flipped on its head in the next 5 years and then you're going to have that feeling later. When I was 19 years old, I was deep into being an EMT, full stop, happy to start working as firefighting and get through that whole thing. And then I had a gigantic change of heart, quit the job, started this YouTube channel, and didn't know what the hell to do with my life. I was extremely lost. I was thinking, oh, I've been working on this fire thing for the second half of my entire high school and went through all of these courses and stuff, and now it all means nothing. What in the world am I going to do about that? And that was a huge part because I didn't know what I wanted to do about that. And it eventually ended up being this YouTube job. But let's be perfectly honest. I don't like to do that thing that a lot of YouTubers do where they attribute this whole job to luck, because it's not, you can have your videos be seen and be lucky that way. But if your videos suck, then no one's going to watch them. But I can argue that I did get lucky in that early few years because I was able to be seen at a relatively quick pace and then work up from there. Now, of course, without if I didn't keep pushing and doing that hard work, the channel would have just died there and then. We've seen a million channels arrive and die because the work put out wasn't very good. But Even so, I still had no idea what the hell to do. And so for your question specifically, doing Army reserves. So I must admit, going to uni and doing Army reserves aside for cash, I don't know necessarily what that means. Now, because I know that we have the reserves in America as well. However, I didn't realize you could do that for cash. It sounds like a pretty significant thing to put yourself to do in order to get money. Unless I'm getting confused and being in the Army reserves is like working some kind of military-based desk job and that's where you get your extra cash. I'm not 100% sure. So I can't really weigh in on that without any extra knowledge right there. But after that, I mean, the reason a lot of you think, and yourself included, that you're don't know what to do with your life at 19 is because you probably go online and you see a whole bunch of people at a very young age know exactly what they're doing with their life or are ridiculously successful at a young age. And it makes you feel, I don't know, inadequate. There's, what is it? I think Casually Explained, the popular YouTube channel Casually Explained, made a humorous joke at one of his videos, which was the best way to give up on your dreams is to type in the thing you wanted to do and then followed by done by a 12-year-old Chinese girl. Because there's some protege out there who will be better than you will ever be at everything you will ever do. Because there are 7 billion people on this planet, and that's just the way it is. And before, nobody cared or knew. Because you were in a nice little town without your phone, without social media, you only knew your neighbors, and so your group was so much more selective. Now, there is always a way to look online and find someone better than you. And which is why the thought process of like, I'm 19, what do I want to do with my life, is just such a baffling statement. And again, I'm not trying to harp on you specifically. Your feelings are extremely valid and many other people have that. But I just want you to take like a step back and think about it for a little bit. Like, you're a teenager. You're still a teenager. Not for long, like, I suppose, but like for the most part in 1 year, like I was gonna say 5 years, but then 3 years, 1 year, 6 months later, you will look at yourself right now and be like, God, I was an idiot. The biggest sin of Twitter is me having to, at any point in time, listen to a teenager's opinion. And again, I don't mean to bash you because, you know, you are a teenager as well. But like I'm 28 now, you know, birthday in June, woohoo. And at 28, I still look at myself a year ago and be like, damn, 27 me was an idiot. And then when I was 27, like, damn, 26 me was an idiot. But when we go back to like 19-year-old Bricky, like 21-year-old Bricky makes me cringe really bad. 18-year-old Bricky, 19-year-old Bricky, oh my God. Holy hell, I was horrible. I was the absolute worst. And that's just normal. You know, like, I don't know what to do with my life. My guy, you're a teen. Social media gives you this concept that you have to have your whole world figured out. That you need to know everything you got to do, make $1 million in Bitcoin and retire when you're 40. But that's just not how the real world works. Right now, you may not know what you want to do. In that case, I'm not sure if this is the same thing in your country. Just take the general education courses. I'm assuming they have that at uni where you need to take a certain amount of general education along with your major. Just take regular stuff. Take regular general education stuff and do some work on the side. Find some hobbies, have a good time, party, play video games, get laid a little bit, maybe. I don't know, you're a Bricky viewer, God help you. Whatever it is, like, just do stuff. You're still a teenager, my friend. You've got so much ahead of you, and that crippling weight of I need to know what my life is going to be right now is entirely the advent of social media. You should not be fearful. You should not be worried. You should be having fun and just learning. Genuinely. Find some hobbies. Do some, like I tried dance practice for a bit. I tried West Coast swing because I was like, I'm going to try goddamn anything. And it was kind of fun. I danced with people. I've danced with kids like half my age and adults 3 times my age. Little kids in the class and 50-year-old, 60-year-old women. I was dancing all back and forth, men, everything. And it was a whole world. And I ended up not really loving it so much, so I quit. But I tried it. And trying it is all that really matters. So don't fret. Genuinely, just do not fret. It is not that big of a deal at all. It is entirely a world thing, and you're going to be perfectly fine. And in maybe 1 year, but like we'll say minimum 5 years or so, you'll look back and be like, oh, why was I even worried? Ooh, this is a pretty good one. Platinum Alias asks, what things just came with age, and what things did you expect would but didn't? That's a great one. It kind of ties in with the prior one we just talked about, and I think it's probably the reason I picked it. So, things that came with age. I guess you would have to argue that things that come with age also come with experience. You kind of would sometimes assume that age and experience is the same thing, but it's often not. If you never ever go out in public, when you get older, I think just maybe in general you might be a little better at it. But if you just from time on the earth, but if you're a hermit, you'll still feel like a hermit later on down in your life. Things came with age. Social intelligence and maturity. Those are probably the 2 biggest ones I can think of. When I was younger, I was always the goody 2-shoes kid. That's just kind of the person I was. And in a sense, I still kind of am. Out of the group of friends I had, I ran with the not uber goth crowd, funny enough, but a kind of like goth light video game crowd. Where they all wore black and had all the hair and stuff. I was the odd man out. I was the weird one where I wore my button-up shirts and had my roller backpack, and I was the full-on nerd. I was always excited to talk about video games, go home and play Call of Duty, and go for achievements on Halo 3, and that's all I would ever talk about. And that's just who I was. But for them. Or like for me, I was always particularly had a hard time with secondhand embarrassment, especially being in a situation in which authority was upset with me. So, because some of those friends were not those kinds of people, whether it was because of their upbringing or just the kinds of, I guess the kinds of parents they had goes along with their upbringing. Divorced parents, that could be a thing, or just moving home life or whatever. They didn't much have a huge care for that or much care for authority in that way. So, some of those teenage kids and stuff, even though they were sometimes my friends, would do things I really didn't like, take the shopping cart from the damn place and do dumb things with the shopping cart, that kind of stuff. Or, various types of property damage. Nothing particularly extreme, but just stupid things like that teenagers do. And even though that wasn't my kind of thing, I didn't leave that friend group, despite them being stupid and doing stupid things. They were still my friends, and so I still hung out with them and all that kind of stuff. I was not the kind of person to be interested in that, but I still hung out with them. Nowadays, a lot of them have calmed down, cooled off, don't do things like that anymore. And then a lot of us will look at teenagers nowadays who do things like that with a lot of disgust and disappointment, because you just stop liking that kind of behavior, that kind of bad behavior. Like I said before, I was Mr. Boy Scout. I was Eagle Scout at 15 years old, like hardcore into that whole thing. So I wasn't necessarily one of them, but when you are a kid, you often think to yourself, I'm going to be the cool adult who is cool with the teenage kids and you know, is fun to be around. And then when you become an adult, you look at them like they are devils, like they are gremlins with hatred. The people who don't look at teenager as an adult right now, who don't look at the past selves, their past selves, with a bit of disdain for the actions they did, I don't think ever truly grew up, and are probably that weird kid that is still in that local town who keeps trying to relive the glory days of high school and varsity basketball and just never ever moved on. And that goes along with the whole concept of maturity and not becoming as obnoxious. You know, you grow older and then you no longer want to spend your 4-day weekend out doing crazy trips and stuff. You want to spend your 4-day weekend inside. Now, back in the day when we had a 4-day weekend from school, we would go up to Mammoth Mountain, go fishing, go camping, really spend a good time on that. Nowadays, if I get a day off, a major day off, I want to stay inside, DoorDash some food, and play video games. That's all I want to do. Having to do nothing is so much better. Unless you can still carve out times for trips and stuff, but for the most part, doing nothing is the more enjoyable method. You really calm down with that. The second part of your question was, what things did you expect would but didn't? And that is, I think, a lot of stuff that comes with people. And I guess this might get a little, you know, specific, and I guess it's apologize if this is a subject matter that's a bit weird for you, but like sexual relations as well. Maturity and that kind of stuff kind of comes with age. Just time, how you act around people is one thing. And then I guess I didn't add that other part, social literacy, how people respond to certain situations. Teenagers are rather easy to read when you're an adult. How they're acting, how they're feeling is actually quite easy. Well, once you get into the workplace or you start working with a lot of other individuals, you get better at hiding your problems and hiding your emotions to make it more workplace accessible, I suppose. And so you get better at reading them because of that situation. Reading people and just being able to work with a conversation, if you are an adult in an area that has lots of conversations, is something you tend to gain a lot, just kind of naturally. It just kind of happens. You're on the earth for longer. You're past puberty. Your brain is almost fully developed, or to an extent fully developed, and then you just kind of go. But things that I expected would but did not is certainly, I guess, how to handle things. How like the specifics on that, how to handle things like trauma is a big one. How to handle just really rough situations that happen to you. You know, you'd think you would think something, let's say heartbreak. Let's go with that. You know, you had a high school sweetheart and she broke up with you and it really damn hurt. When you become an adult, you'd kind of think that would hurt less if you got broken up with again, but it kind of doesn't. It stabs about the same. Some might even say more because you're older and there's a bigger want for like settling down for the most part. How you are able to process things like that, trauma, difficult situations, is not as developed as you would like it to be. And you really need to, I mean, honestly, experience it, which is the worst possible choice, but experience adversity when it comes to that stuff. How to behave in a certain setting does sometimes come with age, but sometimes doesn't. You really need to be able to adapt to a lot of situations. And some people simply can't. Karens, as in the classic Karen of the world right now, who throws a temper tantrum when things don't go her way. You know, those are people who you would think would act like adults as an adult, but don't. And it never came with age and it was never taught to them. So they're still acting like children. While for a certain point, they may not, I don't know, destroy property for fun like teenagers do. they'll certainly destroy property because they're mad, like, you know, teenagers do. It's just a different method for it. I guess I'd say, yeah, like the job, like adult life is not something that is just learned with age. Taxes are a great one. How to handle your car, how to raise kids, how to do proper grocery shopping, how to do your finances. None of this stuff comes with age. This is just not taught. This just does not arrive for you, and you need to just learn it. It is a new skill that you need to learn as a full adult, and it's not something that it can just arrive. And you think when you are younger, oh yeah, I'll just be able to, you know, like adults know how to do these things, and therefore at some point I'll know how to do these things. No, not really. No, not really. I still struggle with my taxes, and I've been having to do them a lot for the past 9 years. And it's very tough. It's very, very tough to handle all that crap that goes along with it. And I mentioned that other thing, you know, romance, you know, sexual things and stuff. Like I'm sorry for the men and women and everyone else that's watching this right now, but you don't just get good at that stuff. You don't grow up and just know how to do it. You know, I remember vividly one of my first sexual encounters ended after like 2 minutes because I was doing such a terrible job and she asked me to stop. No joke. No lie. I was so bad at it. She was like, please stop. I don't want to do this anymore. And, you know, obviously, because I'm not a horrible person, I stopped. But it was quite the bruise to the ego. Oh, yeah, it was. Because you think you're all that. I'm finally going to get laid. Yeah. And you're all excited. And then just the brakes are hit and skid marks are placed. Of course, that was, you know, about like a decade ago or so. So time has moved on from there and, you know, things have gotten better overall. And I'd say I'm a little bit better now than I was then. But that's something that you don't just get good at. It's all lots of practice. You want to talk to a girl, or a guy, you want to go out on a date, you got to learn how to speak to them. You need to learn how to take care of yourself. All of these things, these tips and whatever, do not come with age. You kind of hoped that they would. Like, as an adult, I will just know how to do these things. Nope. Not in the slightest. You need to work on that. If you're going to go on a date, you need to trim your fingernails. You need to, you know, keep your teeth looking nice. You know, put your hair up all proper, you know? And you need to speak plainly and confidently and well. Ask them questions, especially ask them questions. Nothing is worse than someone who just talks about themselves for a long period of time. Slight dig at myself right there because that's my job, but you know what I mean. Ask questions, listen intently, all that kind of stuff. Knowing when to make moves. The whole dating life is one thing that a lot of people think just comes with age, and it does not. It comes with practice and experience. And if you're hoping it's just going to fall into that, you are wrong. Now, granted, dating apps and just apps in general have really taken over that world, for the example. But it's not enough still, for the most part. I guess I can't think of anything else on the top of my head right now. Maturity is one of those things that comes with age, but also doesn't. I think I would argue that it does simply come with age naturally, because when you are a kid, you're extremely immature. And when you're an adult, you can be more mature. But immature adults, you know, the Karens of the world and stuff, were often even larger nightmares as children. So it's not necessarily that they never did mature. They did. They just didn't cross into the green zone. They went from dark red to just red. No middle grounds there. I guess for the most part, I'd say the whole point of age is when it comes to the development of the brain and puberty and that kind of stuff, that will just automatically adjust your mood. That'll automatically adjust how you act and how that works. But there is nothing that can replace experience. Nothing can truly just replace the experience of living life and living properly in the world for the most part. You know, it took me a long time to gain the confidence it took me a while to gain the confidence to show my face on YouTube. That was like the 10K sub goal. And that video is still up. And it may look like I'm confident, but oh man, was I nervous. Oh God, it was horrible. And then after that, it came a whole lot of confidence to show myself in public after that. Go to cons, have a meetup, for God's sakes. That was really bizarre. And, you know, with time, all that time spent in the room, you know, it took a while to learn how to talk to girls. It took a while to learn how to go on dates. And eventually I got pretty okay at that. And then it became a bit more natural. And then that being natural led to confidence, and confidence led to, romantic relationships. Some were good, some were bad. You know, there is no substitute for experience. Age is a great way to get you experience because you are getting older and more things are happening, but that is, for the most part, where it ends. So I guess that's the final thing I'd like to leave you with is there is no substitute for experience. And I guess this could be on a different Fireside episode, but people nowadays want all or nothing. It needs to be done now or it needs to be perfect, and you're just not going to get that. And because of that, people just don't bother trying. You know, the people, Warhammer stuff, for example, people will paint their miniatures and they'll often ask me for advice on their miniatures. They really want to make one thing really good. And I'm saying, my advice is do it. So I know this is the thing you didn't want to hear, but my advice is literally do it. They're going to start off kind of crap. That's the whole point. Because every artist's stuff starts off kind of crap. And the ones that don't sell for millions of dollars and their name is like Da Vinci or something. I don't know if Da Vinci's work was good in the beginning. But everyone has to be perfect in the beginning or get it all immediately. And that's just the world we're in. And experience. I know I'm off a tangent right now, and I apologize. Your question's been answered. I'm going on my own thing now. Delayed gratification is still one of, if not the most important lessons I think you could teach any person, especially in the childhood, extremely as a child, because for me, that's the thing I utilize all the time. Delayed gratification. Things can suffer right now if it means that in the future it'll be better. Like right now, I'm on a fat loss diet. I have a crap load of meal prep that I eat every single day. I have like 5 meals a day, and 4 of them are meal prep. Do they taste good? They're okay. Is it what I need? Yeah. And I need to do this for 10 to 12 full weeks of time. And that's okay. Because it's what I want. I want to lose some weight. I want to slim down. And in order to do so, and do so in a responsible, slow burn way and not rebound, I need to take the low and slow method, like making pancakes, low and slow. Because those who try to lose a crap load of it at a fast pace of time will immediately rebound and gain it all back immediately. Look at every single 600-pound life show. They all gain it back, like all of them, all the time, extremely predictably. So sometimes as an adult, you kind of just got to go out there and get experience. Your experience will be awkward. It'll be cringy. It'll hurt. But that's what you need to do to be a person and a good person to learn, to figure this stuff out. That's really all I got for you. Gonna have a whole video on that. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you have any ideas for names for a YouTube channel for the Fireside thing, might be kind of good. These are only every 30 minutes. Maybe I can just make it once per week, 30 minutes. That's not that much work, right? Just the logistics of getting it all out. It wouldn't be too bad. I could see the use. Anywho, thanks for listening. It was a pleasure. And I'll see y'all later. Ooh, Brick by the Fire. Welcome back to the Brick by the Fire podcast. I'm Mr. Brick. Hey, that's not bad. All right, never mind. All right, bye.